So these are the two. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you may have read in the last bulletin a short story about the history of hockey in Laval. So that's mostly the same, but in pictures. The original title, oops, does it work? Does it work? How does it work? Okay, all right. So the original title was Laval, More Than Just a Palindrome. Because yes, you can read it from the left and from the right. And by the way, ibophobia is the unofficial fear of palindromes. So if you do have ibophobia, you'll be running out of this room in 5 minutes. Because we're going to talk a lot about Laval. We'll say that word very often. And now let's play a game. So we'll show you pictures of teams with the word Laval on their jersey or L or whatever. And you will have to tell me if it's this real Laval where we're right now, or is it another Laval, because there are many places in Quebec that are named Laval. So this one is from the 1910s. Is it in this real Laval? No. No, because I mean, at that time, not much was named Laval here. The picture says Sorel, so I'm not sure if there's something named Laval in Sorel, but most likely this is not the real Laval. Let's move on. So in the 20s, this picture, PL means Patronage Laval or Patro de Laval. Is this the real Laval? No, it's Quebec City. So there's a part of Quebec City is the Laval district, and Patronage, Patro, it's all, most of them or all of them are in Quebec City. So you see, when you see pictures or stats about a team named Laval, well, there's a good chance it's not from this Laval, especially in the 20s, 30s, 40s. Let's continue. Laval Amateur. Is it the real Laval?
Yes.
No. It's Quebec City again, the Quebec District League in the 20s or 30s, so good for them. Laval College. Is this the real Laval?
Yes.
Yes. The people who have read my articles, the picture was there in the bulletin. You don't read the bulletin? Anyway. So yes, this is Collège Laval in Saint-Vincent-de-Paul, an important place because that's probably one of the first places on the island of Laval that they started playing hockey. And the arena was built just besides the Collège Laval. So that's probably in the 30s. And then we have the 45-46 season. Note that they don't have the same jerseys. Sometimes it's Laval, sometimes it's Collège Laval. Same thing here in 46-47. The guy on the left, he has a Laval jersey from the year before, I guess. So yeah, Collège Laval is in the real Laval.
Quick question, Benoit. Is that the reason that the Rocket have that shield? It looks just like it.
I would be very surprised. People who design the Rocket jerseys obviously have no idea about design first. And they have no idea about the history of hockey in Laval. So basically, I hate it. The Rocket logo is terrible. But anyway, it's my opinion. It's worth. Yeah, I'm mad. Okay, let's move on. F de L, François de Laval School. Is it in Laval? No, it's in Montreal. It still exists, by the way, the school. But do you see the fellow here? Who is this? That's Henri Richard.
Yes.
Yeah, Henri Richard. He played for the François de Laval School. So, but he grew up in Montreal. He played for Montreal, but he lived most of his life in Laval. So he bought a home in Laval, and he stayed most of his life in Laval. He was very involved in youth hockey. He even had a hockey school at the Laval Sports Center, which is the Colisée de Laval today. So there you see, Henri Richard. There's even a mural at Place Belle. Maybe you haven't seen it, maybe you've seen it. That's why it is there, because of all he did for Laval youth hockey. Let's go back to the little game we have. Laval Dairy, they have hockey cards. Is that the real Laval? No, still Quebec City. Laval Dairy used to be not very far from where I lived in Charlebourg, so yeah, in Quebec City. So sorry about that. Yeah, that's right. Jean Béliveau was a spokesperson and he worked for Laval Dairy. Oh, this one's for you, Simon. Laval University. Now you should know the answer. Is it in this Laval? No, of course, it's in Quebec City. So this Château Sainte-Rose, is this in Laval? Yes, because Laval, you know, at first it was 5 parishes, Sainte-Rose, Saint-Vincent-de-Paul, and everything. So yes, if you see Sainte-Rose or Chamédé, it is a Laval team, and there it is. Well, Henri's brother. You don't hear that a lot, but yes, Maurice Richard is congratulating few players from Sainte-Rose before the merger, of course. The merger took place in '65. All the cities on the island of Laval became Laval. This is the Centre Sportif Laval that we talked a little earlier. So it built in the 50s. This will have a huge impact, of course, on hockey in Laval. Before that, you know, the proximity with Montreal, everything, there wasn't really much hockey in Laval. But with that, of course, this arena, things will grow up, and we'll even have a team in Laval called the Saints, in the junior team. So yes, this is the real Laval. And they had green jerseys, and they played in the Metropolitan League, Junior League. They had a few good teams, but they never won the championship. And in '69, another merger, but not in Laval, but in the junior hockey in the province of Quebec. And then the Laval Saints, I guess because they had Saint-Vincent-de-Paul, Sainte-Dorothée, Sainte-Rose, so that's why they call them the Saints. So they moved to the new Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. I know it wasn't the real name at the time, but it's still today the Q as we know it. Before that, before the merger, the junior league, there was a player with the Saints. Sorry for the quality of the picture on the left, but that's the best I could find. That's Pierre Lacroix. Pierre Lacroix was a very successful player, agent, and general manager. Well, he played for the Laval Saints in the Metropolitan Junior League. So in the big league, junior league, well, actually the Saints played only one season. It didn't go well. In fact, it was terrible, even though the coach was Doug Harvey. Well, we see some action here, not in Laval. Actually, it's Centre Paul Sauvé in Montreal against the National de Rosemont. So, yeah, when you have one of your players in the net, that's not good. When your goalie is going the other way, that's not good either. So, yeah, terrible year, and I guess the crowds were not there anymore, so the team folded after just one season. But you see the other team is the National, the Rosemont National, so that was in Montreal, on Montreal Island, not very far from Saint-Vincent-de-Paul, by the way. So a few years after, 71, the Rosemont team moved to Laval, so it became the National de Laval. And very quickly, 2 great players came. So Robert Sauvé, better known as Bob Sauvé, was a goalie. And Michel Bossy, by the way, his real name is Mike. Michael, he was never really named Michel, but for some reason, he became Michel Bossy. And he played, of course, for the Laval National. More pictures to come this afternoon with our tribute to Mike. So they had green jerseys, by the way, also the National, and at first, and they had a great season, 74-75. They went all the way to the finals. They lost to Sherbrooke, but anyway, they had a good team. So of course you see Bob Sauvé and Mike Bossy, the big names on that team. I couldn't name any other players. Sorry. So So great action. I think it's against, well, yeah, it is against Sorel. I think it's Lucien Deblois and Bob Sauvé. Well, I don't know if he's stopping the puck, but still great action at the Colisée de Laval. And now we have Mike Bossy, who scores against Richard Sévigny of the Sherbrooke Castor. So you see the crowds. It's the golden era of junior hockey in Laval. Well, the first one in the 70s. Again, our friend Mike Bossy, that's Marco Baron, the goalie for the Montreal Junior. And you see that they changed the logo a little bit. They changed the colors. They became, the jersey became black and yellow and white. And then after that, well, when Mike left in 77, the team, they got some problems. They changed owners and they changed the name. And what name was that? Les Voisins, the neighbors. One of the strangest names perhaps for a hockey team, but in those days, Laval was really, you know, the neighborhood of Montreal. It didn't have its own identity, but strangely, no, that doesn't help. It didn't help. The logo, by the way, is the logo of the city. So when I had a meeting with people from the city of Laval, they gave me this pin. So not only is the pin of the city of Laval, but it's the pin of the Voisins de Laval. So I was extremely happy to have it. Well, neighbors, you can say a lot about them. By the way, it's not written the same in Canada and in the United States, so not the same writing. But of course, you may have seen the National Film Board movie by Norman McLaren, which ends very badly. And Neighbors, 1980s movie from the US. I'm not sure how it ends, but not as much badly as the Canadian one. So there are bad neighbors. There are good neighbors, like Wilson, I think, to the left from Home Improvement, and who else? Ned Flanders from The Simpsons. And also there's some dysfunctional neighbors. This is Les Voisins. It's a play from the province of Quebec. Around the same time, you know, the Voisins came, no relation, of course, but the Voisins became the name of the team in Laval. There was this play, and it's legendary. You know, there are some phrases in that play that became after that a movie on TV. It's unbelievable, but very dysfunctional neighbors. And the hockey team was also a bit dysfunctional at first. They really lost a lot of games until there was this guy, you know, who came from Villemar, a suburb, part of Montreal, and he came to play for the Voisins. His name, of course, Mario Lemieux. Mario le Magnifique, Mario, Super Mario, against the Granby Bisons and Stéphane Richer, if I'm not mistaken. Also Patrick Roy, goalie for the Bison, got 50 shots a game, especially against Laval.
Both guys are born the same way.
Oh, okay. Well, didn't know that. So typical action, Lemieux arrives, he shoots, and he scores. So we saw that a lot in Laval during the days with his days with the Voisins. In fact, he broke the record for most goal in a season. It was held by Guy Lafleur with the Ramparts, 130, so 131 for Mario. Mario, of course, everybody looked at him, see the fans, you know, they're all looking at, and for good reason, of course. What can we say about Mario? He had a unbelievable career, but it all started in Laval. After Mario, well, same thing with Mike Bossy. Things go wrong, new owners, new name. So the team changed its name and its colors. It became red sweaters instead of blue, and it's the Laval Titan. So, of course, they all play with Titan sticks. Even the opposition, Stéphane Fizet, he has a Titan stick. So, many Titans on these pictures. They had good teams again. We see they're going to the Memorial Cup in, I think it's 1990 or something. Patrice Brisebois, Coach Paulin Bordelot, Gino Hadjic, who do we have here? Donald Odette. So good players, but they never won. They don't win the Memorial Cup. Another great team, 92, 93. Martin Lapointe is the captain. They lose the final. But they have a tough team, which they didn't have before. The Voisins, the National, they were not very tough teams, but yeah, the Titans, they had tough teams. Colisée Laval became the House of Pain. So there you go. And they beat, in 94, I guess, they beat Chicoutimi. That's Éric Fichot in the net. And the coach, yes, that was Michel Terrien. So they went all the way. The Memorial Cup was in Laval that year, but they lost, unfortunately, to the Kamloops Blazers. Voilà. So the last years, Titan was named Titan du Collège Français. That's a school that used to run a few junior teams, first in Longueuil, then in Verdun, and then in Laval. So that's not a Photoshop. His head is really very small. So tough years, and then they moved away. Junior left Laval in 1998, and it's not come back since. Just a few tidbits about midget. Midget AAA, the level, over junior, but below junior. Anyway, so midget, it's very strong in Quebec. They had a team in 76 in Laval named the Insulaires. It's funny because it's English, it's Islanders. It's before Mike Bossy was drafted by the Islanders, a year before. Anyway, so if you see a sign in there, good. After that, Laval Insulaire, they merged with other team and they became the Laval Laurentide Lanaudière Régent. Very, very good players. Maybe JP will talk about them later on in his presentation. This guy, well, you may know, maybe not recognize him, but that's Dominique Ducharme, who became later on coach for at least the Montreal Canadiens, head coach. And this is Charline Labonté. We talked about the Titan. They moved to Acadie Bathurst. So she didn't play in Laval for the junior team, but she did play in Acadie Bathurst. I think it was 28 games, not too bad. But she also played for the Laval Mistral, which was a team that existed only 3 seasons in the National Women's Hockey League. Not many pictures of that team. I guess nobody came to the games in those days. Unfortunately, maybe they had 200 fans per game. That's a shame, but still we can see the colors of their jersey. That's with the Laval Mistral. So if we go back a little bit in time, because Charline played in 2000, 1998, the Titan moves away. So what do we do in Laval? What do we get as hockey? We got semi-pro hockey or senior hockey, or call it how you want. So the Chiefs came to Laval, not the Chiefs in the famous movie, but almost the same Chiefs. They even have their movie about them. So roughly the same kind of play, fighting, more fighting, and even more fighting. So that was the league. Sometimes you had 3 fights before the beginning of the game. That's okay. So people expected that, but they had a good team. They won a few championships in that league. But after, just a few years, I guess people maybe not got bored, but the team left. This is the Colisée in those days. You can see the Chiefs little sign here. Also the Régent, you see. So I'm not telling you jokes or anything. That's really real. That's really happened. So I went to see a few senior hockey games, semi-pro games later on, because after the Chiefs, you had the Braves that came from Valleyfield. So I went to see a game, so unobstructed view, of course, at the old Centre Sportif Laval, the old Colisée. So you see the banner is still there. I think it's still there. If we go tomorrow, if we can get inside, I think the banner is still there. They're still having, or maybe it's too high, they cannot remove it. But anyway, it's still there. So yeah, semi-pro hockey like the good old days. It hasn't changed much. Lots of fighting. Well, they say right now there's another team called the Pétroliers de Laval. They played last night, but of course we couldn't go there because we were at Place Belle. But still, they have a team. But I don't think they draw a lot of fans. And well, anyway, it's the same as in the 90s and 2000s. Yes, so remember that Collège Laval, was built by the Frères Maristes, the Catholic Church. So to see all this fighting and all these girls and stuff like that, well, I'm sure that Father Louis Abel must be rolling in his grave. Anyway, some problems also with the glass. They had to put it back. Anyway, so a good old barn, the Colisée Laval in Saint-Vincent-de-Paul. Hope it's still there tomorrow when we go there. But the shock, the difference is huge with Place Belle. This is a rendering of what Place Belle was supposed to be, and it's quite what was built. At first, we thought it wouldn't work. We thought, what the hell, arena, big 10,000 seat arena in Laval. What are they thinking? It's not going to fill up. Who is going to see a game? Everybody's rooting for the Canadiens. Nobody cares about anything else. But and you see, there's also we went to the game. There's also two other rinks. This one is Olympic size rink, so it's a huge complex, and it works. I mean, this is from the first game against Belleville, by the way. So that's in 2017, and since then, the Rocket are more and more popular. They have the average 8,000 or 9,000 fans a game, which is extremely good. You saw yesterday how much proud the fans are of their team. It's their team. It's Laval. So it's the new Laval, of course. It's the big Laval, modern Laval, not the old and rural and whatever Laval was in 70s. And, of course, women's hockey. The team that had no name last year, Montreal. This year it's gonna be the Victoire, and they played many games last year in Laval. Not all of them, but they played a few games, and this year they will play all their not all, but almost all their local games in Laval at Place Belle. And I was there, for the playoffs last year. So to have 10 or 11,000 fans in the building, that's after the third overtime, by the way. So you can see that there were still a lot of people in the stands. They were bowing, the players were bowing to the fans. So great atmosphere. And I think we're living now another golden era of hockey in Laval with the Rocket, with the Victoire. So there are very nice days again. And if you want to live the old days, well, just go to Colisée Laval in Saint-Vincent-de-Paul and you'll have the old package. Voila, there you go.
Merci Benoit.